It's a beautiful Friday morning, my favorite day of the week, and I couldn't spend it any better than being right here on Africa Good Morning. This is the show that keeps you up to date with the latest developments in and around Africa. My name is Esther Kamati, and I'm joined by the oh-so-gorgeous Diana Master.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
It's good to have you on the show. I mean, you're always on the show, but you're always behind the scenes. So
Yes.
it's good to have you here in front of the camera.
It's interesting, hey?
It's
Because I'm always here, so it's nothing new, but people are actually looking at me now, so it's kind of strange.
So it's kind of strange, but it's good to have you. I am excited to be co-hosting with you, our director. So
Thank you.
It's going to be an interesting show. Speaking of interesting, let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Nigeria triggers national response plan for annual deadly floods. 14 states on alert. South Africa gas leak kills 17 and officials blame illegal mining. Kenya delays reopening Somali border over attacks. We'll also be crossing over to Zambia, and we speak to Mike Suchila as he updates us on all the latest news that side. Stick around, we'll be right back with our top stories right after this break.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Today is Friday, the 7th of July. Let's get into our top stories. Nigeria triggers national response plan for annual deadly floods. 14 states on alert. The Nigerian government has activated its national response plan ahead of what's expected to be another round of annual flooding related to climate change, with several states seen as hotspots on alert, authorities told the Associated Press on Thursday. After last year's floods that killed more than 600 people, Nigeria's National Emergency Management Agency said it has begun work ahead of what's predicted to be another dangerous deluge. The agency has sought air support from the country's Air Force and has activated its forces for quick response across the country, spokesman Manzo Ezekiel said. The West African nation suffers deadly flooding every year, often as a result of ignored environmental guidelines and inadequate infrastructure. However, last year's floods, worsened by unusual rainfalls and the release of excess water from a dam in neighboring Cameroon, resulted in record deaths and destroyed more than 340,000 hectares of land in 33 of the country's 36 states and the capital city. Extreme weather conditions worsened by human activities like building on waterways is predicted to cause flooding in several states. Less rainfall is expected than last year, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency said.
Now, our next story takes us to South Africa, where unfortunately 17 people have died due to a gas leak. Now, the death toll from an overnight gas cylinder leak in a South African shanty town rose to 17 on Thursday, as one local official blamed the accident on a illegal mining operation that went wrong. Gauteng Province Premier Panyaza Lesufi said investigations were underway to determine how the leak happened and what type of gas was involved. On Thursday morning, he visited the site on the disaster near Boksburg, east of Johannesburg. In December, a gas tanker explosion in the same township killed dozens and destroyed houses and vehicles. Bodies of the victims on Wednesday's leak were scattered over the area, Lesufi said, with the youngest a 1-year-old child.
Moving over, Kenya delays reopening Somali border over attacks. The Kenyan government says it's delaying the reopening of its border with Somalia after attacks on its soil attributed to the Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab. Interior Minister Kithure Kindiki said the phased reopening of border posts along the lengthy frontier would not go ahead as announced in May. He said the decision has been informed by recent incidents of threats and cases of insecurity in the frontier countries. It comes as 5 civilians and 8 police officers were killed in separate incidents near the border last month. The border was initially closed in 2011 because of attacks by Al-Shabaab, which has been waging an insurgency against the central government in Mogadishu. The minister also announced Kenya would in a few weeks begin integrating refugees who have been staying in camps as part of a new way of managing them. He said the new system would allow authorities to weed out agents of terror and criminals who are exploiting the available refugee spaces to hurt host communities.
Now, good news for Mozambique, where a school based in Maputo has impressed in a prestigious science contest. A school in Mozambique is the regional winner for Africa in the first phase of a prestigious global competition. Now, hundreds of students from around the world took part in the Cambridge Upper Secondary Science Competition to find the sustainable solutions to real-life problems. The team from Willow International School in the capital found a way of removing methylene blue dye from water. Methylene blue is a synthetic dye which, when released from factories into lakes and rivers, kills aquatic life and poses a risk to public health. According to the students, the conventional technologies that are used to treat such wastewater, are expensive and complex. Now, over 9 months, they tested the effectiveness of using the shrub-like plant Diana, you can help me there.
Paracantha coccinea.
Yes, to remove the dye. So one of the students said they were extremely happy to have come up on top of Africa in the competition in what was a fantastic and challenging experience.
All right, now wrapping up our top stories. Kenya and Uganda among African countries to receive first 18 million malaria doses. Around 18 million doses of the first malaria vaccine will be delivered to 12 African countries, including Uganda and Kenya by 2025, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, and the Vaccine Alliance said on Wednesday. Malaria remains one of Africa's deadliest diseases, killing nearly 500,000 children under the age of 5 every year. WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told a briefing. In 2021, 96% of the world's malaria deaths occurred in Africa. The Mosquirix vaccine, developed by British pharmaceutical giant GSK, has already been administered to more than 1.7 million children in 3 African countries, Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi, as part of a pilot program. It has been shown to be safe and effective, resulting in a substantial reduction in severe malaria and a fall in child deaths, Tedros said. Nearly 30 African countries have said they want to receive doses. In addition to the 3 test countries which will continue to receive doses, 9 other countries will benefit from supplies, WHO, UNICEF, and the Vaccine Alliance said in a statement. They are Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Liberia, Niger, Sierra Leone, and Uganda. The first vaccines are expected to arrive in the last quarter of 2023 and be deployed in early 2024.
Now, in Zambia, a former government official, or a minister rather, has been arrested due to illegal mining activities. And after the break, we take a trip to Zambia, where Mike Sachula gives us this and more. Stay with us.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master. Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Now, as Esther highlighted earlier, we'll now be taking a trip to Zambia and we'll speak to Mr. Mike Sachula. Good morning, Mr. Sachula.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning.
Let's get into your first story. A former government minister has been arrested in connection with illegal mining activities. Could you please give us the full details of the story?
Yes, Mr. Derek Chirundika, a former Wapura province minister, has been arrested by police for mining activities without a license, contrary to the laws of Zambia. It is alleged that the suspect, while acting together with others between the 4th and 13th of January 2023, did mine 300 to 223 tons of sugilite in Chembe district without a license. He is detained in police custody, awaiting formally to be charged. So this is one of the first ministers in the new administration's led cabinet by President Hakainde Hichilema, the minister who has been fired from his position. So this is one of the biggest cases in terms of illegal mining activities, because 23 tons of sugilite was actually impounded by government, and he is one of the major casualties to have suffered in this case. And now the nation is awaiting to see what will happen thereafter.
Now, in our next story, we understand that Zambia has signed a memorandum of understanding for a SADC center to be established in Mozambique. What are the details?
The details to this story is that Zambia signed the Intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding for the establishment of the Southern African Development Community Humanitarian and Emergency Operations Center. Zambia becomes the 80th SADC member state to sign the agreement. Minister of Lands Elijah Mchima, who represented the Vice President, signed the agreement, and he stated that Zambia he stated that the intensity and the frequency of disasters, not only in Zambia but the region, is a well-coordinated and robust preparedness and response through the center which has been established. The center is and will be based in Mozambique. So Zambia is joining this establishment because even in time of rain season, Zambia has also been affected by floods. So government has taken this initiative to become the 80th SADC member state to sign this MOU in order to contribute to the prevention and preparedness of disasters in the SADC region.
All right, Mrs. Chila, moving on in a related development, Zambia, Angola and the DRC have given a consortium to run the Lobito corridor for 30 years. Let's get into this.
Yes, Zambia, recently President Hakainde Hichilema was in Rwanda, Angola, where he joined his counterpart, the Angolan president, and Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they witnessed the handover of the concession to a consortium of 3 companies to operate, manage, and maintain the Lobito corridor for the period of 30 years. And President Hichilema has called for quick implementation of the project so that the intended beneficiaries can begin to realize benefits. And according to the Minister of Transport and Logistics, Frank Tahari, he says the establishment of the concession of the Lobito corridor is a milestone in realization of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Mr. Tahari says the corridor project will promote interconnectivity amongst African countries in general, especially the Southern African region. And also a think tank executive director, Center for Trade Policy and Development, Mr. Isaac Mwaipopo, says the corridor will lead to increased exports that will lead to creation of jobs and wealth for Zambia and the member countries involved in the Lobito corridor.
That's great news indeed for the African and, in general, the global economy. Now, in your last story, Mrs. Ichula, Zambia, in their most recent COSAFA match, took on Malawi. Tell us, how did that go?
It went, Zambia lost to Malawi, the Flames of Malawi, by a goal to nil. As you may be aware, Zambia are the defending champions. They won the COSAFA, their 6th COSAFA title last year, after they beat Namibia by a goal to nil. But yesterday, Zambia failed to use their defending championship by losing to Malawi by a goal to nil. That goal was an own goal scored by Captain Andrew Katebe. So now Zambia is using this tournament to prepare for the Chan tournament. So assistant coach to the senior Chipolopolo national team, coach there in the picture, Moses Chona, is leading the charge. So Zambia, having lost this match, they will now play Comoros on Sunday before wrapping up their last group game against the Seychelles on Tuesday. It is expected that Zambia now should pull up their stocks and ensure that they pick out maximum points in the last 2 matches against Comoros and the Seychelles.
Well, we will be definitely watching those games to see how well Zambia fares. Thank you so much, Mr. Sichira, for giving us an update on all the latest news that side.
Thank you so much. Do have a blessed weekend. Africa, good morning.
Africa, good morning, and indeed. And for us to have a blessed weekend, we definitely need good weather. So let's have a look at the weather predictions.
Welcome to the Sport Wrap Show.
I'm in conversation with Harry Simon, who just won the fight against the guy from Malawi. How are you?
And for us Manchester United fans, a lot to be excited for.
Met altijd voor doelskoppen geslagen. Dus
Okay. And are you happy about the overall success of the event?
Our number one spot is...
Indian boxer Lucas Ndafoluma is itching to fight again.
it's the Winter Wrestling Club's tournament today. It's the Open Championship and all these cool sports. So today we're not that much. I think
Atenebo has been on my radar for some time.
so. Safi skramskakel wat aangekeerd.
Starting off our economic news this morning, Zimbabwe Industrial Power users aim to raise 4.7 billion rand for floating solar panels. Zimbabwe's industrial electricity consumers and exporters aim to raise $250 million to build the first phase of floating solar panels on the world's largest man-made lake. Members of the intensive energy user group, which also includes mining companies, will own 52% of a development company for the project to be located on Lake Kariba between Zimbabwe and Zambia, according to a pre-feasibility study seen by Bloomberg. The electricity generated by the station, initially planned for 250 megawatts, will be sold to the group and other qualifying customers under a 25-year power purchase agreement. Zimbabwe is facing acute electricity shortages that have resulted in blackouts lasting more than half a day because of low water levels that stifle generation from a hydropower plant on the lake and thermal power station that experiences frequent breakdowns. Any excess output could also be exported throughout the region, according to the developers. The Zimbabwe government's sovereign wealth fund will hold a 10% stake in the company, with the remaining 38% available to investors, including development banks.
We now move over to Kenya, where Kenya has secured 500 million US dollars syndicated medium-term loan facility. So Kenya has secured a 500 million US dollar 3-year and 5-year syndicated medium-term loan facility. The banks leading the deal said on Thursday. So the banks, which were acting as book runners, did not provide any details on the interest rate for the loan facility. However, the proceeds would be used by Kenya's National Treasury to finance development projects as part of the budget approved in the fiscal year 2022-2023 that ended in June, they said in a statement. Kenya government has mandated Citibank, Rand Merchant Bank and the Standard Bank of South Africa, Standard Chartered Bank and their affiliates as book runners for the deal.
Now let's take a look at the economic indicators, proudly brought to you by Bank Fintech, before we get into the sports news with Ari Hogad.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news first. It's week one of Wimbledon, exciting tennis happening in London, one of the four majors of the year. News from the men's draw is that number one seed, that is Novak Djokovic, he safely through to the third round. He had a second round win over Jordan Thompson of Australia. The score there was 6-3, 7-5 and 7-6, and it is Novak Djokovic, one of the favourites. He's won the title 7 times and trying to win his 24th major title. So Novak Djokovic, the second seed in the tournament. The number 3 seed is Daniil Medvedev, and he also had an easy win in his second round. He beat Arthur Ferry of Great Britain in 3 sets, and the score 7-5, 6-4 and 6-3. And then not good news for Southern African interest. Lloyd Harris of South Africa, he lost in the second round, and he lost to Gregor Barrere of France, and the score 7-5, 6-7, 7-5 and 6-3. So Lloyd Harris out of the Wimbledon tournament. In the women's side of the draw, it is Iga Swiatek from Poland. She won her second round game and she beat Sara Sorebis Tureño by 6-2 and 6-love. A good result for Swiatek. She haven't done well at Wimbledon in previous years. The best performance was a fourth round in 2021. Also then Petra Kvitova, she's the number 9 seed. She's safely through to the next round. In the second round, she beat Jasmine Polini of Italy 4-6, 7-6 and 6-1. But not good news for Maria Sakkari. She's the number 6 seed. She lost to Marta Kostic by love 6, 7-5 and 6-2. Continuing international sports news with cycling news, and it's a Tour de France, one of the elite road cycle events, probably the elite cycle event on the professional calendar happening. It is stage 5 that is done. The winner is Jay Hindley of stage 5. He's from Australia. He won the 162 kilometers from Pau to Lawrence in 3 hours, 57 minutes and 7 seconds. Then 32 seconds behind him in second place was Giulio Cesoni of Italy. In the general classifications, it is still Jay Hindley leading with a time of 22 hours, 15 minutes and 22 seconds. And 47 seconds behind him is the defending champions Jonas Vingegaard. And in third position is Giulio Cesoni. And one of the other favourites is down in 6th position. That is Tadej Pogačar. He is 1 minute and 40 seconds behind the leader. And concluding today's international sports news, it is golf news. One of the big majors of the women's calendar. It is the US Open for women that starts in Pebble Beach. It's the 78th time the US Open for women will take place, and it is a defending champion Min Yi Lee of South Korea that will again tee off. The tournament starts on Thursday and finishes the 4th round on Sunday. Some of the other top players to look out for is Nelly Korda of the USA, and also the 20-year-old Rose Chang, also of the USA, and then also Leona Maguire of Northern Ireland. Southern African interest in the tournament, only 2 players from South Africa playing. It is Ashley Buhai and then also Paula Rito. Ashley Buhai in good form, and she also is a defending British Open champion. The women will play for more money this year. The total prize money this year is $11 million. That's a combined total purse. It was $10 million in 2022. And the winner of this year's US Open for 2023 will receive $2 million in prize money. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
You're still watching Africa Good Morning, and if you missed the bulk of our stories, here's what we covered in today's broadcast. Nigeria triggers national response plan for annual deadly floods, 14 states on alert. South Africa gas leak kills 17, officials blame illegal mining. Kenya delays reopening Somali border over attacks. Zimbabwe industrial power users aim to raise 4.7 billion rand for floating solar panels.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching Africa Good Morning. You can catch us the same time you caught us from Monday through to Friday, which is 7 until 7:30. And you can catch the repeat from 8:30. I am Diana Master alongside Esther Kamati. This has been Africa Good Morning. We wish you a lovely Friday ahead.